looks like the cloud just swooped in. It could rain any second. And what's going on today? This is kind of interesting in regards to DJI. This one says, DJI insisted drone tracking AeroScope signals were encrypted. Now it admits they aren't. What's going on here, huh? It says, last month, Ukraine Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov accused DJI of helping Russia to kill Ukrainian civilians in an unusual way by allowing Russia to freely use a drone tracking system called DJI AeroScope to target the exact location of Ukrainian drone pilots and allegedly kill them with mortar strikes and missiles. And this is where, for example, DJI claimed once they give people the hardware, they are basically hands off, so any errors would be technical, for example, they have nothing to do with it, which is kind of interesting if you read into it, because as it goes on here, it says, but a hacker pointed out that DJI wasn't being truthful with us on at least one point, and the company is now admitting it. The AeroScope signals broadcast by every modern DJI drone aren't actually encrypted, DJI now says. This means governments and others with technical ability may not need an AeroScope to see the exact position of every DJI drone and the exact location of every pilot nearby. Wow, that sounds kind of bad, huh? To be clear, both DJI spokesperson Adam Lisberg and drone forensics expert David Kovar told us that these signals were encrypted. And when hacker Kevin Finester suggested to us that was wrong, we checked with DJI again. It was only after Finester repeatedly debunked the claim that DJI admitted to The Verge almost a month later that it wasn't actually true. And when you have, I guess, a higher up now admitting, well, he didn't know, it makes you wonder, huh? It says DJI's Lisberg says it's his fault, but also tells us that his R&D contacts in China repeatedly told him it was encrypted and that it took senior managers to step in and admit it wasn't true. It's not entirely surprising that AeroScope signals are unencrypted. By the way, DJI originally envisioned Drone ID, now known as AeroScope, as a technology other drone companies would use too. And governments like the United States are already planning to mandate that your drone broadcast your physical location by 2023. It won't be optional, and it's not clear to me if those signals will be encrypted either. One of the ironies too, if you guys remember, as I mentioned, where it seems like with this remote ID stuff, DJI has all these geofence and so forth, but then like when it came to the US, it seems like they kind of punished them the most in terms of a drone manufacturer, which is the irony. So they basically tried to ask that Lisberg person if he has anything else to correct, but it says here, there aren't currently any other corrections, but he did admit that yes, DJI could prematurely revoke an AeroScope certificate to disable it, though that would only affect stationary units that are connected to its own AWS servers, and that it could also theoretically see the GPS positions of those AeroScope receivers that way. With this too, I guess afterwards they go into other topic, making you wonder what else did this hacker, I guess, reveal before that could potentially be true. It says, Lisberg also says, I've been once again told that Sentinel and Supervisor do not exist, referring to an ominous sounding program that Finester found during a DJI data breach in 2017. Finester has suggested that the program is evidence that, at least in China, DJI is mining data on its users, but DJI has denied that, telling The Verge it was simply a proposal on how DJI could theoretically do some targeted advertising, but it never actually happened. Finester also pointed out that DJI did have a way to remotely turn off the AeroScope signals and that its drones broadcast until it disabled that in later update. It appears there may still be a way to send commands to the drone to mask a pilot's coordinates though. But overall, it makes you wonder, would this make you uneasy about the company in general, where, like this article implies, if they weren't truthful about one thing, what else could there be, per se? And speaking about information, I thought this was really interesting where the timing feels like it's too coincidental. As you guys know, recently with Twitter, it got bought out by Elon Musk, and some people are saying he's gonna say kill free speech, whereas a lot of people are saying no, he's gonna restore it. Now this actually came out like very recently. Would this be related? This one says, DHS standing up disinformation governance board led by information warfare expert. board intended to coordinate countering misinformation related to homeland security, focused specifically on irregular migration and Russia. A new board at the Department of Homeland Security will focus on countering misinformation and disinformation. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told lawmakers today, with Wilson Center fellow Nina Jankowicz separately confirming that she would be executive director of the board. Rep. Lauren Underwood stated that disinformation is a huge threat to our homeland and said Mayorkas has noted it's a concern of yours at the border with human smuggling organizations peddling misinformation to exploit vulnerable migrants for profit. Citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report on tactics used in the 2016 election campaign, she added, "It makes you wonder here, is this related to Twitter, for example, being purchased?" Alright, see you guys later.